Good evening, guys. Come and join me as we spike this pig for tomorrow's event. So this is for a private event tomorrow. We are over in Tadcaster in Tolston. This pig is about 65 kilos in weight, reared up in Harrogate and killed locally as well. Brought over from Penistone by a good friend of ours, Dan at DR Bins Butchery. We'll tag him in there as well. So yeah, here we are. Come with me. We'll get it spiked. We're hocks and feet off and heads off, just purely for size, really, and getting it in the oven. If you've got any questions as we go along, do feel free to pop them down in the comments below. This is going to go on as part of a new YouTube series we're going to be doing. Got a couple of people in there already, so hello to you guys. Yeah, so just gonna sort of get along with it. If I see any messages pop up, I'll try and answer those as I go along. Yeah, if I don't, then I'll answer them at the end. But let's get on with it, okay? Right. So we're going to start off with centre spikes. So you want to come sort of halfway down the tenderloins, just in front of the back hips. Get that seated in there nicely. Try and think about where it's going to come out of the top. Turn the pig sort of on its side. Get that through there. Much need a knife just to get through the skin. So skin on these pigs, try and hang these pigs for about 5 days. That just helps us dry out the skin a little bit, gives us that fantastic crackling. And that's it, the first one is through. So these might need adjusting as we go along, but we'll see that as we get towards the end further on. Second spike wants to go about halfway down the rib cage, just behind the shoulders. Gives us a nice solid point halfway through. Right, first question, how many would that feed? So it all depends really on how hungry your guests are. So a pig this sort of size, 60 odd kilos, we would normally look to serve about 120 people. Nice sized pig like this, you get a nice amount of crackling, nice amount of fat. The pig is of an age and a weight where you get that nice balance of size, fat coverage. So a lot of the skin you can use for the crackling. Sometimes on the slightly smaller pigs, they've not got the fat sort of on the belly here and the bottom of the legs, so you sort of tend to lose probably about 40% of it just to crackling. But yeah, good question. So all of our packages are online. If you go on www.greedylittlepig.co.uk, you can have a look at our package lists on there. We've just got a couple of supporting bars just going on the top, spikes there. Then they'll get held on with some starlet washers later on. We're just going to move this pig right to the edge of the bench now. Got a nice clear run to be able to get the pole in. So in through the first one there. Through the second one. So this isn't so much about force, this is more about just guiding it through those two mounts in the middle there. So you'll see on the end there that I've got two other, well, medieval looking contraptions. One of them is a 4-prong that will go through the back into the hips, and the other one will go around the back legs. There, and we are out and through the neck. So bringing that slightly further forward. So you want to leave enough space each end. Just try and get it balanced somewhere near the middle of the pole. You want to have enough on that end that's going to reach the motor in the machine, and enough on this end that's going to reach the other end of the oven. Obviously, with a pig mounted on the pole, you don't want to have to faff around too much once it's on there. You want it to stay there. It has happened in the past. even though we do hundreds and hundreds of pigs. You know, we're well over 100 pigs we've done now since we took on last year. You know, getting them in the right place on the pole. Sometimes you can just get it slightly wrong, whether it be late at night or pigs slightly different size. Of course, that is a big factor as well. Some of them can be all a bit like us. Some of them can be short and fat. Some of them can be tall and long. Next question: how long will it take to cook? Excellent question again. So we use very efficient machines. Don't use very much gas at all. And so the cook time on something like this, you're looking at about 8 to 10 hours. So it can depend on lots of different things, depending on what sort of oven you're using, whether you're inside or outside, you know, what the sort of temperature is going to be. So we've got a big walk-in fridge outside. So this I'll load up into the oven tonight, wheel the whole oven into the fridge so that everything is going to be fridge cold, ready for getting it out tomorrow morning. So this is a sort of early afternoon serve. We're going to be ready to cook this fairly early tomorrow morning, about 8, half past 8. This will be going on. We'll give it a nice hour or so sear, and then from there we'll turn it down low and slow, let all that fat render, and then when we get to our event tomorrow, we'll turn the burners right up on full, and we'll get that crackling nice and crisp again. Right, so a little bit of trigger warning, loud noise coming up, and just as I drive this on into here. So these tines on here are about 6 to 8 inches long. I'll find another one just down here. This is going to go into the neck end. So these here, this obviously mounts onto the pole here, clamp it down with the bolt. These here, as they go further into the meat, it actually helps take the heat into the joints of meat. So you've got the thickest parts on there, like the back legs, the hips, the belly not so much, so that's why they're sort of just got the poles going through. Up on the top here, you've got the thickest part of the pig. This is my favourite part here. This bit sat on the top here, the neck, the collar is absolutely gorgeous. Best part of the pig, only second to the cheeks. That is a little bit of a chef's top tip in there. If you're ever you know, at one of our events, see a pig with a head on. If they haven't already gone, ask for the cheeks. They are absolutely like butter. Like butter, fantastic. Right. Get this lined up now. Perfect. And handy little tool here. This is a spring-loaded socket. So this will do anything from 7mm to 19mm bolt. If you're doing anything like this with different sizes and fittings, highly recommend one. So we'll just get that tightened up on there now. Yeah, that's going to tighten lovely. So we'll get that in now, the rest of the pig. So we get this through. Right now, so you might be able to see on the other end, I've got on this end as well. This is a foot hoop. So this is what we put the legs through. Just helps keep everything in a nice uniform shape. We've got the, it sort of helps keep the skin tight, so it helps the crackling again, helps keep everything cooking evenly. What's the best part? So if you've just joined us, we're just talking about that. So my favourite part here is up in the top of the neck, or the collar as it's more commonly known, sort of top of the shoulder, back of the head. Absolutely lovely piece of meat. Otherwise it's the cheeks. Fantastic if you've got the head on. This one we haven't got the head on. Purely for logistical reasons, I think. So now this can be a bit of a struggle, obviously. Still got the tendon and everything in the legs. Bit of a tricky one to bend back and bend through. We'll try not to struggle too much for you. There we are. Like we've done it before. So we'll bring that through there, and that now will just keep that skin underneath nice and taut, make it much easier when we're scoring the skin as well later. So that is that first one tightened down now. You don't want to tighten these all the way up just to start with. Again, as you go along, might need to just adjust slightly. Obviously the pig's on its side, can't see where it's sitting on the middle of the pole. It will sort of find its own centre of gravity. Right, so next we're going to try the front feet. If we can't get them in, we might just trim them back. Put it in, look at that, fantastic. So with this, as with anything, the raw weight and the cooked weight are going to be much, much different, purely because of what the liquid you're going to lose as you cook it, and also as the fat renders, that's going to come out as well. So you want to try and get these ends in as tight as you possibly can. Try and get the legs really tucked up tight, get right up into the top of the joint. There we are. Right. So let's just have a look at that now. So we can see one of the supports has come off here. This one is still on, and this back marker here needs to go slightly further in. We can probably take the foot one in slightly further as well. So now, as I was saying, this is where you want to sort of slacken everything back off again. Just bring everything back in a bit tighter, nip it all up again, and we'll be well away. Only two that I've actually tightened up properly are the two in the middle now, just purely with having to sort of keep it on the pole. When you see us tighten that down in a sec, you'll see why. Front feet in, back support in. Careful how far I go that way, I was going to drop off the table. Now these are, the hole in the back is higher one side than it is the other. So we're going to put that in upside down. So as we've got the thickest part of the meat here, we're going in just like that. So you've got the neck in there as well. So what you want to try and do is make sure that is sat as high as you possibly can, inside all the meat. And then we just now we're tucked up right as tight as we can. Those prongs are totally stuck down inside there. So if you think about how long those were when they were out, we're sort of coming down now to well within the shoulders. We're going to take a lot of that heat straight in, which is going to be fantastic. So we just roll these around on the pole ever so slightly. Just help get the pig slightly more square. I'm actually going to move this one as well, I think. Go back out. Bring that in there slightly more. What happens with the leftover meat? So, this is an interesting question because a lot of people, when we go to an event, obviously think they've bought the pig. Now, as much as they have bought the pig, they've only bought a certain number of portions for it. So, if, for example, this pig I know is going to feed more than what we've got coming tomorrow, sometimes people will book just for a slightly smaller number. So this is booked for 60 tomorrow. So So the smallest that we tend to sort of go for is about 80 people. And that is all to do with the size of the pigs. Anything bigger than that is easier. Anything smaller than that, you sort of end up in suckling pig territory, which is much more expensive, much more expensive. Obviously suckling pig, a lot younger, hasn't eaten anything other than the mother's milk. That is something that a lot of people don't know, and that is part of the reason why it's so much more expensive. So any leftover meat of an event of this sort of size, we can take with us. So we can keep any meat like that, and we have got a couple of things in the works for that. We've got a couple of kitchen pop-ups that we're looking at planning, and we may or may not try sampling some other products to have a go with as well. This is one of our Saturday events out. So this weekend we've just got the one pig out. We're certainly building up to our busy time. Last weekend we had 2 or 3 out, as you saw. Weekend before that was actually one of our big events. That was Broadstock. So that was 6,000 people went to Broadstock. They raised £200,000. So massive shout out to Broadstock. Absolutely fantastic event. What's the maximum number of people you could serve at an event? Oh, fantastic timing. So, as I was just saying, maximum number of people we can serve at an event, there was 6,000 people at Broadstock. I think there was 9 vendors, and we served about 800 people. So, 2 enormous pigs. So this pig is about 65 kilos. We took 2 90-kilo pigs with us. So if you think about the size of this one, this is going to feed about 120 people, 130 people. The size up again, doubling it, is going to give you that sort of number. So with that one, any leftover meat that we got, we actually take the trailer with us. So our walk-in fridge is a refrigerated trailer. So we tow that with us, take all the kit with us, and then any meat we've got left over, we can chill straight down on site, keep it refrigerated, vac pack it and freeze it when we get back. So really, really good one there. Fantastic purchase that was, to be able to use both. Really, really handy. Right, so let's get this on the top here. So just got a few little Starlock washers. Then we take another bar on the top. Loud noise coming up again. Oh, it's stuck. That wasn't in the script. Okay. Just have to straighten that out. Give me 2 seconds. A bit of loud noise again. I do apologise. So try and hit that in the middle as we go across there. Done it again. Oh. Oh, they do say, don't they, don't work with children or animals. Here we are with the whole pig. Right, what I'm going to do is take that one off of there. Go again with those. So the thing with Starlock washers, you can only knock them on once. If you try and knock them on a second time, they won't sit flush on the meat. Are the bolts vegan friendly? So the bolts themselves are indeed vegan friendly. You know, the pig would have been raised on grain and grass, but that's about as far as the vegan aspect runs in regard to the hog roast. But that doesn't mean that we don't cater for vegans. So at all of our events, we cater for 5 vegans included. You know, we're living in 2025. It is certainly something that is around at the moment. And it's an ever-growing ever-growing lifestyle, isn't it? So there we go. So yeah, we take 5 portions of barbecue pulled jackfruit with us as well. We also cater for vegetarians. Our buns are vegetarian, so the buns aren't vegan, so we use a nice soft brioche bun. Obviously brioche classically enriched with butter and egg, neither of which are vegan. And yeah, we do gluten-free. Obviously the pork is all gluten-free. The only thing this pig will have added to it is some salt, just on the outside of the crackling, and that will absolutely transform it. So I'm going to have to quickly run and grab another bar. Try and get those off of there. There's those two. Oh, they are certainly stocking down tonight. Oh. Shame it's not where I need them. Right. Let's try that one again. I'll make it out of that. No. My box of goodies down here. There we are. Found what we were looking for. Lol, we have a comedian in a comment section. Fantastic. Right, that is on there. Let's get that tightened up on there. And then we are ready to start scoring. So with regards to salting for the crackling, a lot of different opinions out there as to whether you should, you know, rub it in oil, whether you should do it the night before, whether you should effectively cure it. Some people sort of salt it the night before. The thing is, if you buy really, really good pork from a reputable butcher, you're going to end up with a much, much better finished product. It's like anything. If you buy a good product, I won't say necessarily expensive, because not everything has to cost a fortune. But if you buy really, you know, well raised, well reared, well finished, and then also dry pork, a lot of butchers will know what I'm talking about. If you go to a supermarket, buy yourself your Sunday joint, shoulder of pork, your leg of pork, crackling, whatever, in the wrapping, all you're doing is trapping in that moisture, so you're never going to get the crackling that we can on here. Obviously it's a lot easier doing it with whole pigs, and you know, not everyone's, you know, got the budget to be able to have really expensive, you know, dry cured pork. As much as it's important with steaks, obviously you see a lot of 28 day, 30 day, 60 day, 90 day dry aged pork. It's exactly the same as meat with pig. So the whole point in dry aging is you're reducing that water content. So obviously water produces steam, steam is wet, so any water that's left in that skin is what's going to cause your crackling to be soft. So in a lot of pork skin, a lot of people know about the gelatin. So the hocks and the heads are fantastic for using to make gelatin. Things like marshmallows, pâte de fruits, you know, cheesecakes, lots of things, lots and lots of things. In the skin as well is a lot of collagen. So collagen is a lot of what you see in your sort of your hairstyle products and things, makes your hair really nice and soft. That's not my secret, but you know, there we go. Right, very, very swiftly moving on. We're going to start scoring this pig now. So another vital part of making crackling absolutely gorgeous. So you don't want to score down into the meat. If you score down into the meat, you're going to start letting the steam from the meat escape. So that then is going to come up through the skin, make your crackling not quite as nice. With it, what you want to do is score just into the fat, helps the fat render, and that's what helps get your skin nice and crispy. So, Stanley knife, fresh blade. You'll see me swap this round a couple of times. So when I can feel that it's getting blunt and not quite scoring properly, I'll swap the blade over, and then I'll start another blade after that as well. You want to keep a nice sharp blade so that you're cutting the skin and not tearing it. So lots of different ways you can do this. You can do crisscross, you can do diamond. Some people actually pierce it like a cocktail stick, or those things you have on the end of corn on the cobs. Really good for that. On a joint this sort of size, I'm going to go for a Stanley knife. I'd be here all night if I used a corn on the cob pick. Right, so we're just going to go with a simple, just scoring all the way down. So we're going to start off at the top here. We're going to come down. So now when I'm doing this, I'm not using the whole knife, okay? I'm only using about this much of the blade. Very, very small amount. You can actually use your finger as a guide, obviously not on the sharp side. You can see here just how little of the blade is actually going in. There we go. So I'm just going to crack on now with getting that through. So you want to keep these about an inch apart. Obviously too far apart and you're not going to get the render out of the skin. Too close together, you're not going to have any crackling left. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is, if you guys join back on with us again, about 3:30, we will be getting ready to go to the event. So about 3 o'clock, I think we'll probably jump back on the live and show you guys where we're up to. I might do a little bit in the morning as well, just to see where we start, and we'll sort of do a whole process of start to finish of come on an event with us. We won't let all of our trade secrets out, but you know, I think it's important that we have transparency. You know, there's no secrets, there's no chemicals or anything like that involved with making the crackling, anything like that. Obviously pig skin is very, very tough, so as I'm getting down this now, I can feel I'm losing the edge of the blade. You can probably see when I'm starting, I'm just having, there you go, just having a little bit of resistance just for getting it started. This is great, so much information. Well, thanks very much, Grant. As always, any questions, just send us a DM on Instagram or Facebook, or send us an email. We've got an information request form on the website, or give us a ring. So I'm getting sort of 2/3 of the way down the first side. I'm actually going to swap this blade over. This is a brand new blade just before I started, while I was getting set up. Just turn that round now, and you can see straight away there's none of that sort of pull or resistance at all. Lovely sharp blade. So just going back to salting, crackling, I actually prefer, so when we go back to saying not adding anything to it, you can add what you like. Some people actually cook it over a steam bath. Some people think that, you know, it works better with a little bit of steam, sort of helps build the bubbles per se. What I actually do is I start it off for an hour or so first, nice high heat, get that searing, start rendering some of that fat, and then I can use that fat to be able to then help the salt stick to the skin. So we're not adding anything to it, we're not adding any oil. Some people will add white wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar. I personally don't think you need to. That's not to say that anyone out there is wrong. Anyone's family secret, grandma's secret recipe for the last 100 years, please don't send your grandma my way. So we're just going down the other side now. I'll put a couple of pictures up so you can see the finished product. So when we get to the other side, we have got very limited availability left for this week. This week, this season, in fact. This week we have absolutely no availability left, simply because all the abattoirs are shut over the weekend and we would not get the pig, let alone have hung it enough. So we can, if we need to, work on a 2-week turnaround. So normally, with regards to turnaround, some people will book literally years in advance. We've got stuff in for the back end of 2027, and obviously we've got stuff in for next week. We are very fully booked now for the peak season. Obviously do try us, because a couple of people have cancelled. So there's been a couple of other events we've managed to pick up very, very short term, some lucky guests, anyone, and of course sometimes vendors cancel. If you're holding an event and your vendors have cancelled, give us a try. We're not owned by anyone else, it's literally me and my wife. So we sort of have the final say on whether we go to an event, whether it's worth going to, what we charge, all of our equipment. So nothing is rented or hired at all, it's all bought and paid for. So we are totally owner operated. My wife, if you do book with us, you'll see that my lovely wife actually, although takes care of our 2 children 99% of the time, she will be the one that does a lot of the book work and a lot of the legwork that goes on behind the scenes. So there we go. Just bring you down from there a second. What dessert would you recommend to follow? We do offer a few desserts on there as well. So as I was saying, with being owner operated, if there's anything that you fancy that's not on the website, just try us. We have the say on what goes. Right, so let's turn you around here a second. There we go. Right, so this pig now is all scored. Excuse the dried blood on my hands. The pig is scored. So as you can see here, we're not through to the flesh. We're just through to the skin. Even down here, we're just through to the meat. So we've gone into that layer of fat, and we're just onto the layer of meat. Obviously this bit here is going to go crispy anyway. But all this here will just allow that fat to ooze out. We'll salt that, and that will give us the most absolutely beautiful crackling. Right, I'm going to wrestle with this pig, get it into the trailer, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks very much for joining us, guys. If there's anything you want to know, drop us a message, and we'll get back to you when we can. Thanks very much. See you soon.